I want to start off by saying how appreciative I am of Coach Beamer allowing me this opportunity. Obviously, working with Coach White in the past, have great respect for Coach White. And also, I just want to thank, just my coaches in general, just, going back to Orangeburg, being from Orangeburg, all my park and rec coaches, high school coaches, everyone who kind of, gave me that foundation to be where I am today. Going back to North Carolina State, all the great coaches I had there, Baltimore, the great organization, Coach Harbaugh, the great ownership, and I'm truly appreciative. Even going back to Jacksonville, Coach Meyer and Joe Cullen, who was a great mentor of mine. I just can't speak how much I'm appreciative, and I'm happy to be home. And any questions you guys might have.
How's it going, Sterling? David Cloninger with the Post and Courier in Charleston. What was the decision like going into this? I mean, you've been an NFL guy for a number of years now. You're coming back and got to add recruiting to all that. But what was that decision making like on your end?
To me, it was a no-brainer. Obviously, my relationship with Coach White and just seeing in the first year what these guys were able to do, and to me, it was a no-brainer. So Coach White and Coach Beamer, Coach Beamer didn't, I knew him as an 18-year-old, but the great respect that I had from him and watching his career from afar, it was a no-brainer, and it was a great opportunity to come back home.
Sterling, Mike of Gamecock Central. When you think back to when your playing days of playing college, just having some of those NFL guys around you, obviously on the outside looking in, it seems like it's okay, yeah, it'll be a plus. They get to be able to work with someone that got a chance to coach at that next level. But now being in the role that you're in currently, how much can that benefit some of these student athletes that come through here to be able to not only help them while they're here, but to be able to help them fill out their dreams of making it to that next level?
Absolutely. I think it works wonders. For these guys, me being in the NFL the last 6 years, knowing what to expect, knowing what it takes to get to that level, I think it works wonders. And I think these guys, I actually got a chance to meet these guys for the first time 2 days ago. Obviously, Coach Beamer talked about it, but getting on the road, as soon as I got here, which is awesome. And like I said, finally being able to get going with my position and talking to those guys, I think they're very much excited. I'm excited as well.
Hey, Sterling. Ben Portnoy with the State newspaper. Just, I guess, first off, what kind of went into Clayton and Shane's crash course on recruiting the couple weeks ago? And I guess just as far as knowing Clayton and going back a ways with him, just what stood out about wanting to work with him as well? And, what can you maybe tell us a little bit about y'all's relationship and kind of maybe the first time you came across him or anything like that?
Absolutely. So Clayton, I know you guys, you covered him a lot. Clayton, he's a down-to-earth guy. He's a funny guy. I'm going to tell you that right now. But, just the work environment and knowing his football knowledge, he was the safeties coach at North Carolina State when I worked there. And just we've been able to keep in touch from him going to be the defensive coordinator at Western Kentucky. And just the great respect that I've had for him, just watching him from afar the past 6 years that we haven't worked together. But I tell you, man, it's great.
Hey, Coach. I was wondering how you thought that your Coach Beamer mentioned it when he was talking, but he said you felt like your kind of defensive coaching style would match well with Coach White's. And just what do you think about going into spring practice, how the defense looks right now, and how you're hoping to model it?
Absolutely. I'll tell you this. Number one thing, just talking to our position, the outside linebacker group 2 days ago, number one thing we're going to do is we're going to lead the SEC in effort at our position. And I know Coach White, he believes in that as well. If you're doing it full speed, right, we can clean everything else up. So number one thing, we're going to come in and we're going to lead the SEC in effort, and I know Coach White is all about that.
Hey, Coach, you've obviously been on a couple different sides of recruiting, being a player, and I guess when you got started at State. Absolutely. How was getting out on the road and doing that side of it? How did you feel like that went for you? And do you have any early funny road stories you can share with us?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. So the first day I started out pretty hot. They had me ride a private plane the first day. So I was with the head coach. So, that was awesome. And the next day I was on the road. I drove about 6 hours that day. So I got humbled pretty fast. But I'll tell you, man, it was awesome. And to me, man, recruiting, like you said, as a player, I had to do it. Every official visit, they had me hosting guys. So to me, it's just relationships. It's just being yourself, being genuine, and I think players and parents, they can see right through it when you're being genuine.
Sterling, kind of sticking with that a little bit, but just what's the response been like from the guys you've been able to talk to on the recruiting trail so far over the last couple of weeks? And when you're out evaluating guys or talking to players in their homes, what are you kind of looking for? What are some things you'd like to see from them?
Yeah, so right now, just going into high schools, meeting the high school coaches has been very good. Just building that relationship with them, getting all the information, and obviously, we want the players obviously that we feel can help us win at this level. And like I said, I mean, the guys who have the makeup, the guys who have the mindset to come out. And like I said, number one thing in my position, I want effort, right? And everything else I can clean up. And I already know, obviously getting off the football as a defensive lineman, explosiveness. So those are just some of the many things that we look for.
Hey, Sterling. Two questions for you. One, what was before you even threw your name into the hat for this position, what was your perception of what Shane had been doing here, of the South Carolina football program? And then two, I'm just kind of curious, do you kind of have a set recruiting base, or is that still kind of fluid for you guys?
Yeah, so first of all, like to answer your first question, being in the NFL last year and just watching from afar, I know they had the quarterback issues where they had injuries and whatnot, and just seeing what they were able to do through that was appealing as well. That goes to show you right there what type of coaches that we have on this staff. And what was your second question?
Just do you have a set recruiting base? Will it just be Carolina? You're from here, just Carolina areas, or further out? Or?
Yeah, so it's kind of fluid right now. We do a lot of position based. So I tell coach all the time, I'm gonna go where the players at. So wherever the good players at, that's where I want to be.
Hey, Sterling. Pete Iacobelli from the AP here in town. It sounds like Shane still hasn't fully gotten past you turning him down in high school. Why did you turn him down, and do you think he'll ever let you forget it?
Yeah, I think he's over it. He hired me back, but I got a chance to right my wrong this time. But like I said, it's all about relationships. I just felt at the time, that was the place to be. I'll tell you a funny story. So obviously I played inside linebacker, and they had, I don't know if you remember, Jasper Brinkley at the time. And all young guys that want to play as a true freshman. So basically I was like, man, this, not that I didn't want to compete, but basically they told me Jasper Brinkley's the guy, right? So it's nothing wrong with, being a young guy. And I've learned that over the years, coaching and everything, right? There's nothing wrong with being a young guy and learning under a veteran as well. But I think that kind of went into it. And I told Coach, I said, Coach, I'm going to be honest with you. If y'all had these facilities y'all have now, I don't know if I would have turned you down. So that's kudos to what you guys have been able to do these past couple of years, donors and everything. I mean, these facilities are awesome.
No, obviously, just really getting used to being in the facility and stuff since you're out on the road and probably haven't spent a ton of time studying your current players. But what do you know about Birch and Strawn and some of those other guys in your position group that you're going to be working
Absolutely. To your point, like I said, I jumped right on the road recruiting. So I'm currently going through the process of watching the entire season, making what we call get better tapes. So one or two things that I think each guy should work at and hone in on this spring coming up. But I tell you what, I got a chance to see those guys in the weight room the other day, and they're working really hard. Birch, Strawn, big athletic guys. So I'm really excited to get to work with those guys.
You've talked a lot about your relationship with Coach White. Just how much does that relationship help in terms of just getting up to speed on how he wants to coach things defensively, the terminology and stuff? Is the learning curve less knowing all that stuff beforehand?
And like I said, we haven't talked much football yet because it's been mostly recruiting. But I know terminology-wise, we kind of speak the same language, and I know he's interested in some of the things. My background being in Baltimore, being in Jacksonville, some things that I can bring to the table as well. So I think we'll get into that a little next week, but I'm looking forward to that as well.
Sterling, you mentioned just the impact Joe Collins had on you as a coach. Just maybe can you elaborate a little bit on that and kind of what kind of impact has he had on you as a coach and sort of your time in the NFL as well?
Absolutely. So working with Joe since 2016, Joe Cullen, he's a great man, great mentor, and I I'll tell you one thing. He's probably he's probably the best D-line coach there is. I mean, you know, everybody around knows he gets calls every year for people for jobs. The first person they're going to call is Joe Cullen, right? So he's a great mentor of mine, and I've learned so much these past couple of years, and I consider him a great friend.
On a more personal note, Coach, how has your transition back to Columbia been, and are you settling in well, and how does it feel to be back close to home?
It's been awesome. I'm hotel living right now, but it's been really good. You know, my wife Brittany, we met in college. She's from Charlotte, so her, my daughter London. I have a 2-year-old. I have an 8-week-old daughter Ari. So you know, they're back in Jacksonville right now, but I miss them, but they're excited to get a little back closer to home. My family, like you guys know, is I'm from Orangeburg, so my parents still live there. So I'm sure my wife, she'll be excited to get a little help. She got some extra babysitters, so it's been good.
Phil Kornblut, Sports Talk Media Network.
How you doing, Phil?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
What do you take away from your season at Jacksonville, considering everything that was going on with Urban Meyer and how all that ended up? What did you learn about the NFL and maybe the coaching at that level?
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing. I learned a great deal. Urban Meyer, Coach Meyer, he was nothing but awesome to me. You know, I learned a lot about, you know, starting from day one from him, building the program. It was nothing but great. And I'll tell you one thing, we didn't have the results that we wanted as a whole big picture, but our defensive line, I tell you, those guys played hard. They came to play every week, and we had a really good group, and they were really dominant, I'll tell you, for the majority of the games this past year. But to answer your question, I had a great experience in Jacksonville. I'm very appreciative of Coach Meyer, you know, the Kahn family, and nothing but great things to say about that organization.
Obviously, being recruited here is a big deal, but what do you remember about South Carolina football? What's your earliest memory of South Carolina football as a kid growing up in Orangeburg? Is there anything that really comes to mind for you?
Game. Cox. I'm telling you, man, that stadium, man, the sandstorm. I'm telling you, I mean, it's been years since I've been to a game, but I know in high school, man, the atmosphere is crazy. It's awesome, man, and I'm excited to get back going in William Brice Stadium. You guys didn't respond to me when I said game, man. Come on. With your school spirit. No, I'm a Gamecock, man. Yes, sir.